Hello, good evening. Welcome and happy Sunday. My name is K.C Emmanuel, popularly called Dr. Magana. Today we shall be talking about this very important law, the law of use. Hi, Blessing, how are you? So, as I said earlier in my previous post, the law of use is the greatest law in the school of success, wealth, and financial abundance. And I said earlier that in the scriptures, Jesus Christ made a very clear picture of how the law of use works. And ever since I've discovered this law, my life has never been the same. And I believe that as you discover and apply this law from today, the sky will be your takeoff point. So here we go. The law of use. The law of use, according to the great master, has two major anchors. You have the principle of humility and the principle of service. Remember, towards the end of the ministry of Jesus while he was on earth, the Bible recorded that there was a time, there was a very high and great contention among the disciples of Jesus. There was a kind of infighting among them. They were contesting who will be the greatest, who will be the head. Jesus Christ maintained calm until they got to their destination. Now he now turned around and asked, why is there this contention among you? Who will be the head? Who will be the leader when I'm gone? He brought a little child into their midst, and he told every one of them, if you want to be great, if you want to be the leader, if you want to be the most successful among yourselves, first of all, you must be like this little child. That talks about humility. And he said, among you, if you want to be the chief, if you want to be the most important person, you will be what? You will be the servant of all. In other words, for you to encounter success, greatness, you must imbibe these two principles: humility and service. In fact, check any big business today on planet Earth. Check every big company. Their secret is always service. Jesus Christ was telling them, am I not your Lord? During the time of the Last Supper, he brought out basin with water and started washing the feet of all the disciples. Some were surprised. You are the master, you are the Lord, you're supposed to be at the table while we are the ones serving. Jesus Christ said, yes, I am your Lord, but I am among you as he that serves. The secret, what made Jesus who he is today, is these two principles: the principle of humility and the principle of service. These two principles are the major anchor of the law of use. No wonder, if you're a Bible student, if you go through the book of Philippians, I think Philippians chapter 2, if you are reading from verse 3, he says, let this mind be in you, the same mindset that was in Jesus Christ, that though he was God, but he counted not robbery to be equal with God, but he made himself of no reputation. He says he took upon himself the form of a servant, service, and he humbled himself and died the shameful death on the cross. No wonder the Bible says he was highly exalted above every other name, that at the mention of his name, every knee bows. Jesus Christ did not attain that greatness because he's the Son of God. No, he followed the two principles of greatness, the principle of humility and the principle of service. I was struggling in my life until I discovered this law in 2006, and ever since I discovered this law and start applying it in collaboration with the law of use, I have never experienced a better yesterday, and I believe you will encounter the same if you apply the same rule. So going back to the law of use, which is the secret of financial abundance, the secret of compound interest, the key to multiplication of riches and wealth. Jesus Christ cited a very good picture. If you read the book of Matthew 25, talking about the parable of the talents. In the story, he said there was a great man that was taking a journey into a very far country. So he called 3 of his servants and he gave them his goods. The first one came, he gave him 5 talents. 5 talents. Talent is a measure of value. You can see it as dollars. So he gave the first person 5 talents. The second person 2 talents, and the last person 1 talent, according to their several ability, according to scriptures. And he went on with his journey. So after many days, the master returned. Meanwhile, the first servant that they gave $5 started trading with the money. He started buying things, selling, increasing the talent that the master gave him. At the end of the day, he was able to double the 5 talents, and he had 10. The second servant that they gave to also entered into a business venture. He took some risk, invested the money, and surprise, surprise, he was able to increase the money from 2 talents to 4 talents. Then the last of all that they gave 1 talent went and do what? He dug the earth and buried the 1 talent that the master gave him, because he said he was afraid that this man want to use my head. This man want to use my brain. That is the mentality of many people. That is why you see many people suffering today, because of what? Wicked and bad attitude. So when the master came back after many days, the day of reckoning, the day of accounting, so he called the servants, please come and give account what you did with the money I gave to you. The one he gave 5 talents came, said, master, I traded with the 5 talents you gave to me. Surprise, surprise, I was able to double it. Today I have 10. The master was so happy. He said, well done, good and faithful servant. Because you are faithful, enter into your master's rest. he called the second servant. The second servant was filled with joy. He said, Master, you gave me 2 talents, and I was able to trade with the money. Today I have extra 2. The master said, well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into your master's rest. Then the third servant came. He said, one funny thing is, when he came, he called him Lord. I know you are a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you did not straw. What an evil servant. The master was surprised. So you know I'm a very hard man. You know I'm a very evil master. Why not take the money I gave to you and give to the bank? At least at my coming, I will have some interest on the money. But you went and hid the money in the earth. The master called his soldiers. He said, take this unprofitable, wicked, and slothful servant. Take him into the outer darkness, where there is what? Weeping and gnashing of teeth. This is the picture of what is going on today. But the good news is, where the law of use applies is, the Lord said, the master, he said, please take that one that this man claimed that he buried. Give it to the man that has 10, so that he will do what? He will have abundance. And let the one that have little suffer in penury. That is what? The law of use. When you use what you are given, when you use what you already have, you multiply it. That guarantees what? Great and massive wealth. But if you refuse to work with what you have, if you do nothing with what you are given, that is the gateway to a life of poverty, penury, pain, suffering, and darkness. So the law of use simply means making use of what you have at hand. That is to amassing astonishing wealth. Remember, the 2 anchor principle has to do with what? Service and humility. The 2 servants, they were servants given to humility and service. They were committed to the prosperity of their servants. And the funny part of the whole thing, at the end, the master did not take the money from them. That is what happens to many people. Most times you want to help somebody, you want to assist somebody, they think like the servant that they gave 1 talent. This man want to use my brain. They want to use me. Anytime you see somebody speaking like that, run away. That is a replica of an evil and wicked servant. So the law of use is the law of compound interest. It is the law of exponential increase. Anything you use, you put to use, multiplies exponentially. That is the principle of the kingdom. When you apply it under the principle of service, a heart given to service and a heart given to humility. For example, if somebody, you are giving, let's say, 100,000 naira, you have 100,000 naira, and you apply the law of use and invest your 100,000. Let's assume you are doubling that money like the wise and faithful servants every year. After 1 year, the 100,000 turns 200,000. The second year, it turns 400. The third year, it turns 800. The fourth year, it turns 1.6 million. The fifth year, it turns 3.2 million. Sixth year, it turns 6.4 million. 7 year, 12.8 million. The 8th year, almost 25.4 million. And you keep multiplying it. Within a very short while, what happens to that small money you started with? The law of compound interest or exponential curve sets in, which means you can start with anything. If you apply the law of use through the principle of service and humility, you can multiply such little money, such little talent into abundance. Examples abound, like the story of Zenith Bank. Zenith Bank is a bank committed to service. They started with how much? 20 million naira in 1989 or so. 20 million naira. Today, the net worth of Zenith Bank is over 300 billion. That's the Jim Ovia, the owner of Zenith Bank. Is worth close to over $900 million, is net worth. But they started Zenith Bank with 20 million naira. What multiplied the money? Service. He applied the law of use through the principle of service. He was serving the masses, helping them to keep their money, safekeeping of people's wealth and money. Through the principle of the law of use, he was able to multiply that little resources back then to massive and heartbreaking, mind-blowing wealth. That is how it works. Your own talent can be singing. You don't go and hide it. You have to do what? Use it. Your talent might be public speaking. Yours might be teaching. You must use it. Because according to the law of use, anything you use multiply, and the one you refuse to use dies. So the law of use has to do what? Do with making use of what you already have. You don't need loan to run any business. Any little you have, by the principle of service, not greed, to amass wealth. Once you have it within yourself, that this business I'm into, I want to use it to help people. People will always reward you. Check all the great companies around you. Their number one principle, the key to their success, is service. You are hungry. You go to Mr. Biggs. They serve you food. At the end, you do what? You reward them with good money. They are rendering service. They are serving you. As far as you are in their store, you appear as the master, while they appear as the servant. But at the end, you part away with your money. So the more people you serve, the more money you multiply. That is how it works. Service, humility is the key to multiplying wealth. Somebody may ask me now, how do I imbibe these principles? One thing I did immediately I discovered this law is to render voluntary services. I volunteer. Anywhere I found myself, be it in the church, in any group, I volunteer to serve. And as I was volunteering, as I was serving people willingly without any expectation of payment or reward, the law of exponential increase, the law of use set in my personal businesses, and I started encountering multiplication. So today you can volunteer to serve in any group you find yourself, in any church, in the mosques, in the community, so as to do what? To attract the power of the law of exponential increase. Thank you very much.